Hey, everybody. Hope you are doing awesome today. I'm going to take this time to share with you a simple framework on getting started on your journey to creating more results in less time. There is a framework that I can share with you that helps you work about 20% less, sometimes more, and you can make this happen in about 90 days. I have been working with entrepreneurs for over 30 years, and I've specifically been working on creating my 3-day weekend lifestyle and then helping others do the same for the last 7 years. I've worked with insurance agency owners, small business owners for the last 20 plus years, and there are a lot of commonalities in how you make this happen. And what I want to do is walk you through a way this can be possible for you. Now, wherever you're watching, you'll see that there is a link that mentioned that you can get the workbook somewhere. And so it says, get the webinar workbook here. I'll show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like if you're on YouTube. Get the webinar workbook here, and there's information on that. So you can use that to follow along here, whether you're watching this live, whether you're watching the recording. The recording will be available after, so you could also just follow along and listen to this, and then check in with that after if you like. So what I'm going to do is go right into it and suggest to you that what we're going to be doing is using an implementation workbook, because really so much of this is about mapping things out. If you're an entrepreneur and you've been working in your business for a certain amount of time, there are certain things that you need to create, certain results you need to create to get to a certain level of income. So you need to, in order for this workshop to work for you, you need to be at 80, 90, 100% of your target income in order for this to work. If you're still scaling your income, the information in here will be helpful to you, but it might not fully be able to help you get exactly where you want in those 90 days. And the second page of the workbook is just a little bit about me. So I'm going to jump right to the third part. And there's really four main parts that I focus on with entrepreneurs when we talk about creating their vision. Like anything, there needs to be some sort of vision, some sort of map, some sort of inspiration, some reason why you believe you're doing this. So if you're an entrepreneur, at some point you took a risk. You decided that you were not going to just accept a paycheck. You were not going to just accept somebody else telling you the income amount you'd make or what your opportunity would be. And so you took that risk. You took a leap, but somewhere in your mind, you had a vision, an idea. Somewhere you had a game plan, hopefully. Might have been maybe not exactly what you needed, but it's something that got you started in the right direction. And then finally, you needed implementation. So today I'm going to be focusing primarily on the vision part of it, mainly because many of these things can be shifted if we just look at them. So you might be able to make a lot of these changes happen right away without any coaching, without any formal relationship, simply by considering these things. So if we look at the freedom concept, most of us as entrepreneurs started our own gig because we wanted some level of freedom. There's all sorts of freedoms we wanted. Maybe we wanted freedom of relationship, we wanted freedom of time, we wanted freedom to do certain work. But overall, most of us wanted freedom in our personal life. And so what I encourage you to consider here is, again, whether you're following along with the workbook or not, is take a moment and reflect, what does your best life look like? And what experiences would you be having in that life? So on a daily basis, if you look at the workbook here, or again, if you just close your eyes and imagine this, on a daily basis, what would you be enjoying? Maybe it is doing something like going for a bike ride, or going to the beach, or going golfing, going fishing, taking a walk with family members, having dinner together as a family, whatever that might be. So think about, what would you be doing on a daily basis? And then what would you get to do every week? This is all about building your default week to be set up in such a way that it mirrors your best life. So even if it's not exactly what you want, even if you have a certain week where not everything went perfectly, if the majority of the week is your default, and your default is pretty much what you want to do with your life, you're going to find that day in and day out, week in and week out, life is pretty good. And while you will enjoy your vacations and look forward to them, you will not deathly need them. You won't be saying, oh my God, man, my life is so tough. I need a vacation just to get away from this. You'll be enjoying the day in and day out. And so similarly, consider what sort of experiences would you want to have on a monthly basis, or maybe twice a month or every 3 months. So you can write in your own timing, but just as a concept here. What might you want to do once a year? Maybe you have a summer trip. Maybe you go visit relatives, certain things like that. And then the once in life, that's really sort of your bucket list. What are some of those things that you know you've always wanted to visit a certain place? You've always wanted to do stand-up comedy. You've always wanted to drive a Lamborghini. You always wanted to go to the Super Bowl or to Wimbledon or watch a certain person sing, whatever that might be. So that would be that first part. And then in the second part here, what relationships do you want to invest your time in? And the same concept, just looking at what are those relationships that you'd want to be connecting with people daily, and what would that look like? And then what are the relationships that either weekly or monthly or annually you'd like to be investing time in? And then the once in a life, these might be people you've always wanted to meet, or it might be people that, frankly, you're not sure how much time they have on the planet. And so you say, you know what, it might be more than once in a life, but I at least need to connect with these people. I need to connect with these mentors, these people that helped me along my path, these family members that have been great to me, these people that I'm not sure how long they're going to be alive, that I've always wanted to meet, or I've always wanted to, whether it's, reconnect with them, spend time with them, whatever that might be. And then the last two parts of this, when it really comes to creating freedom, and this is really for anybody, but it's even more powerful for entrepreneurs because we can actually usually make this happen pretty quickly. What would need to be removed from your life or from your work in order for you to feel free? For some of you all, this might be just the hugest and most important question that you've not been looking at in your business. What are those things that maybe you should be delegating? What are those things that simply are beneath your pay grade? And it doesn't mean you're better than doing that work. It doesn't mean you're above that or you're in some way condescending or arrogant. It's not the best use of your time and your talents. While you're doing this $10 an hour task, there's something else you could be doing that would be making a bigger impact and helping people more and probably generating more income. Same thing goes in life. What relationships, what obligations really just have you outgrown, or you're just not willing to do anymore? You don't want to do that. You say, okay, this is what I would need to do to move forward with that. And then what would need to be added to your work or your life for you to feel free? So that might be that you make a certain hire, you hire a virtual assistant, or you hire a personal assistant, or there's somebody that's going to do certain tasks for you. You hire somebody, and maybe that person you hire for number 4 is addressing some of the items on that list for number 3 that you don't want to be involved in. So again, getting this sense of freedom and what it looks like, I really encourage you to write it down. This can be an intellectual exercise, or this can be something that transforms the way you do business. I have many people that I have coached in long-term relationships. I have many people that have come to one seminar or seen one tool I have and took the tool seriously, never had to do coaching with me, and still got the same results. So that's the freedom piece of this. The second part is another dimension. And what you're going to notice is I'm not yet getting to income. Income is important, but it's not the most important thing. And in fact, it's really more of a byproduct of these things. So if you're first living the lifestyle you want and you have the freedom to enjoy life outside of work, you're fully energized, fully charged, fully ready to help people, fully excited, you're going to be in a position to make a greater impact on people. And so now if we look at how does impact on others' lives look in your best life? What do you want to be helping others achieve in their lives? This might be things where you're helping them have certain experiences that maybe they've not had before. Maybe you're helping them build on certain relationships or solidify certain relationships. And this might really depend on what you do. If you're a relationship coach, you might say, well, yeah, Wade, I help people with relationships all the time. If you're a financial advisor or an insurance professional, you might say, Wade, I don't directly help with relationships, but I help people do financial structures or planning or strategies that if something happens, that it helps the relationships go smoothly, or it puts the finances in place to make things happen. So again, these might be direct or indirect items. What achievements can you help people achieve? So things that they didn't think they could do, get a job, balance their checkbook, do certain things that are important to them. And depending on where you're at And again, some of this might be personal, some of this might be professional. How can you help other people in healing or in their growth? So you might be a coach who coaches youth sports, or maybe you're a dance teacher, or maybe you mentor people in music or at your church or your civic organization, whatever that might be. What does that impact look like? And then second, what can you share in your work now, specifically in your work, that will help others? This is such a shift for some people. So many people I work with are doing meaningful work, but they're not connecting with that. They're not seeing it as meaningful. They're not seeing it as the powerful thing that it is. So when they're connecting with people and helping people, they're kind of, not that excited about it. Meanwhile, the other person is having their life transformed, but the person doing the work, helping this person, really is just kind of like, yeah, I've done this a lot of times. It's really not that big of a deal. And they're missing out on that connection. So what sort of tools do you have? Maybe you have books you've written. Maybe you have standard operating procedures you've created that you can share with peers of yours who are other entrepreneurs who are starting their businesses. Maybe you have talents that you can share and teach other people how to develop those talents. You might have wisdom of things that you've learned, mistakes you've made that you can help other people avoid. Again, maybe you can help them because you have relationships, connections of people that can support this person that's looking for help and development. And again, maybe you have skills, certain specific things that you can help them with. Now, in addition to that, what I want you to consider, and this is where we start anchoring in with this concept of 90 days and giving yourself a timeline. It's that whole concept of a goal is a dream with a deadline, and saying, well, what ways could you reach and impact more people? What are 3 ways you could do that in the next 90 days? And so what could that look like? And then finally, if you could only give one gift in your lifetime to your clients, possibly to your family members, but specifically I'll say to your clients, since we're focusing on your business here, what one gift could you give to them? Might it be peace of mind? Might it be connection with their families? In my case, if I could give one gift to people, I would give them the time to enjoy their most treasured relationships and activities, family, friends, life, that sort of stuff, and hobbies. So that's one of the main reasons why I do this. And so you might have heard of the gentleman Simon Sinek, who wrote the book Start With Why. And he often says that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So for me, the reason why I do this is so people can build and reinforce and nurture their most important relationships. The next thing to look at is how would it be different in the way you invest your time in your best life? Let's say you weren't allowed to retire. You might say, wait, I want to retire, I'm going to retire. Humor me for a second. Let's say you can't retire and you have to continue working. You have to do something productive. How many days per week would you work? And how many hours per week would you work this year? So if you could choose your schedule, how many days per week would you be working? And how many hours a week would you be working? So you might say, wait, I'd be working 4 days and 24 hours or 28 hours in a week, whatever it might be. What would that look like in 5 years, in 10 years, and in 20 years? And if you could take a little deeper on that to go a step further, if you could take a certain number of vacation days off, other than your weekends, but you could take vacations, how many vacations would you take this year? And how many days off would you want for that? And what would that look like in 5 years, and 10 years, and 20 years? What you'll see is if you're able to create the timing and the lifestyle you want, you might decide you're not fully ready to retire. You might decide you just want to dial back your hours and sort of ease into a semi-retirement lifestyle, a vocational retirement lifestyle, doing the things you enjoy most. That's what I've been doing for at least about 5-6 years now. I have my income needs met. I don't fully have enough money sitting in a bank account or an investment account that I could afford to stop working, but I don't want to stop working. So I'm good. And I have the insurance coverages that if something happens to me medically, I'm in good. If I die prematurely, I have life insurance for the family, I have disability insurance, that sort of stuff. And then think about, third, what are the next 3 major vacations you'd like to take? Maybe it's going to happen this year, maybe it's going to happen in 2 years, whatever it might be. What would that trip be? Who would you be taking it with? How much time would you need? How much money would you need? And what's your target date for that? See, if we start doing all these things and we start making these things happen in our life, whether you're specifically exactly working 4 days a week with a 3-day weekend or whatever the situation is, if you're getting to these most important, these sort of high impact experiences for you, it's going to be less important the exact schedule you work, even though that's going to support you. This is going to allow you to have more and more of the life you most desire. And then specifically in the next 90 days, what are 3 mini vacations you could take? So this might be a 1-day getaway with your spouse and the kids stay with your parents. It might be a weekend getaway. Maybe it's away from your family and your spouse goes one place one weekend, another time you go somewhere else and you're catching up with friends, whatever it might be. What could that look like? And then if we go past the time part, now, as we've looked at, to go back a couple slides here, now we've looked at what freedom looks like in your best life. We've looked at what the impact can look like in your best life. And we've talked about how you invest your time outside of work. Now, what sort of income level would fully support your best life? Maybe you're already there and you just need to invest your time the way you'd like and spend more time in the relationships that are most important to you. Maybe you do need to grow this income. And so I encourage you to consider a few different dimensions. And depending on how you view your business or how you're familiar to talking about business, some of these things might be familiar to you, some of them might not. The first would be what I'm going to call DIY or do-it-yourself products. So if you are an author and you wrote a book, that's a do-it-yourself product. The person buys the book, they read it themselves. They're not coaching with you, they're not buying anything else. That's a DIY product. So how much income would you have coming from that in the next 90 days? DWY services, a done with you service, is where you're working with somebody. Let's say you have a coach that's a personal trainer and they're coming out with you to your workouts and they're training with you. That would be a done with you service. So if you perform that sort of work, how much money do you make with that? Done for you services would be where somebody says, I want you to make something for me. I want you to do something for me. I'm handing this over to you. You do it. And when you give me back the finished product, I will pay you, in essence, for your time and your expertise, but I'll pay you for that. So it's not a pre-made product like a book, like we talked about in a DIY product. It's a service where you are trading your expertise, your time, your labor. And then finally, what sort of residual income do you have? Whether that's renewal income from an insurance agency or from books or from a software company subscription, whatever that might be. And what does that income look like in the next 90 days? What do you want it to be? And in 12 months? And in 3 years? And in 10 years? So that's one way of looking at your income. And now if we look at it through a different set of lenses, what's the work that you need to eliminate? What's the work you're doing? And this really dials down to that 20% of making free time for you. What is that work you're doing that really, it's not moving the needle? It's not to say you're just looking at, social media or Instagram all day. This is something you're doing that it's not moving the needle. It's not creating impact. It's not creating income. It's not creating fulfillment for you. What would you eliminate? And then what's some of the work that's important? It still needs to be done, but somebody else should be doing that. What work would you delegate? Then there might be some work that you need to maintain. You say, Wade, you know what? I'm the person that has to do it. My name's on the door. However that looks, I have to do this work. So what is that work? What do you want to focus on that you're currently doing really well? And maybe you want to reinvest more of the time that you free up from, let's say, eliminating and delegating. And then what's that next thing you want to learn that you want to be doing that you're not currently doing that could help you create higher impact, higher income if you were able to make that happen? And now specifically, I encourage you to consider, what are 3 ways that you could double your income this year? So 3 different ways you could double your income. It might be 3 different product lines you already have. It might be 3 different services you already offer. It might be a premium level service to something you're already doing. What would that look like? And then, if anything, what's one project that could allow you to make 1 year's worth of income in 90 days? Where you, if you had a solid launch, if you had a solid setup with this, where you could make a huge splash in a very short period of time, by being extremely effective. What could that look like? And then now to take this into something that can be usable for you and something that you can act on, I encourage you to just consider the basic idea that you can make this list of whatever the most important things that you want to do, and you can take action on them. You don't need my assistance to do that. You could decide what is that result next of the 5 most things that you want to do, those 5 things. What's the result you want to achieve? What's the action you need to take? How would that increase or improve your financial position? How would that increase or improve your lifestyle situation? What's your target date for that? And then, of course, you could keep an eye on the status of that as you move forward with this. So this can be very simple. It can be very powerful, but it doesn't have to be really all that complex. And so if you want, I encourage you to take this and run with it yourself. If you'd like to learn more about the program that we have, that I run, that can help you create a 3-day weekend lifestyle in 90 days, there is in this workbook, there's a link to it. And there's also, you're going to see a link in the chat. And you can always reach out to me if for some reason you don't see it. It's called 3-Day Weekends in 3 Months. And it's a program, it's a 13-week program where there is a virtual group coaching program where we go through step by step to help you create the life and the lifestyle you most desire. And so basically, the focus of this is to help you get off of that hamster wheel and really start enjoying the rewards of the work that you do. There are 3 main parts of the focus to it. The first month, we focus on increasing your freedom. The second, your income. And the third, your fun. And there are different people that have done this work, and it's helped them create more impact, more income, more free time. You'll see there's testimonials from people on the website about that. And really what it's for people who are entrepreneurs, either making $100,000 a year or more, or you're making 100% of your target income. That is, you're already making the income you need to make. Doesn't mean you don't want to make more, but you're good on your income. So we can focus at the moment at really freeing up more time, having you make the same income or more in that amount of time, and allow you to impact more people, increase your income, create more free time, and enjoy your family and friends in that process as you do that. And so if you go to the link that I'm going to put in here, you can learn more about the details on that. You can reach out to me if you'd like to connect with me and check in and perhaps have an individual call to discuss with me. I'll put a link in the chat for that as well. Otherwise, I appreciate you coming out. Thank you for your support. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. And as always, I look forward to helping you impact more people and make more money in less time, doing what you do best so you can fully enjoy your family, your friends, and your life. I look forward to hearing about your success stories as you work less and make more in 90 days. And again, if I can serve you and help you make that happen more easily, please let me know. More than happy to share. Have a great day.